Yo, what's going on, yo? I'm back. Y'all know me by now. Y'all know I'm gonna jump in. Huh? When there is stuff in the news, obviously, um, my goal is to expand my content coming up this year. But as of right now, uh, I do a lot of Atlanta Falcons content because that's what's one of the things I'm very, very passionate about. Being a fan all my life. And when I say all my life, uh, it is a lot of people that's a little older than me. They knew about the Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers. When I started watching football over 40 years ago, my household was Atlanta Falcon household. Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta Braves. That was it. You dealt with the Thrashers here. You dealt with Georgia Tech basketball, a little bit of football when they had Joy Hamilton, but then it was Bulldogs. But my content that I love to talk about is Atlanta Falcon content, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into this because I don't want to hold anybody long and make the video long. But I'm gonna go ahead and set the record straight. Um, I've been hearing reports come out about Michael Penix's rehab, and if you know me, you know I'm a defender of Michael Penix for a number of reasons. Number one, he's my quarterback. He's the quarterback of the Falcons. Injury history and all of that. But then I have an affinity and I have a love for his story. How he battled back through the first 4 years of college. Then the fifth year, he take his team to the playoffs. His last year, he take them to the championship game. So I'm gonna ride with him. And then I hate to see people mistreated or treated unjustly because things that's out of their control. Injury was out of his control. So I'm gonna always ride for people like that, but particularly Michael Penix Jr. Let me tell y'all something. Don't y'all believe this stuff about these people coming out. Now I'm starting to hear radio personalities and people trying to moonwalk a little bit because Penix rehab is going great from what is being told. Obviously the stuff that's out in the news about he gonna be ready by April, which was, a mistake. But there's very possible that he'll start the first game of September. From the reports that I've seen, he's already squatting a bit while he's training. So that's a good sign. And let me tell you something. Everybody that's reporting on Michael Penix now, they don't want to really see him succeed. I don't know why Atlanta is like that. And maybe I'm going to just go ahead and tear the Band-Aid off. Maybe it has everything to do with Michael Vick. It seemed like after Michael Vick did what he did, he was the most electrifying player ever that we had over Dion. But when he did what he did with the whole dog fighting, I think it really killed a lot of people's spirit about black quarterbacks here in Atlanta. Now, we will root for other people, Lamar Jackson and Prescott and, even Steve McNair and stuff like that. As long as it seems to me that there was no kind of black quarterback in Atlanta, we was fine. And this may not be for everybody. If you know my handle on YouTube, I am Mr. Not For Everybody. So this ain't for everybody. If this do not apply to you, do not be offended. You understand? But I think that, I don't know if that's a matter of it. I am sometimes aggravated with some of the radio personalities and some of the content creators that I feel really don't want this kid to succeed. Well, he's a man, but I call him a kid because I got almost 20 years on him. But he's a young man, and it's like he had no idea that his body would do what it has done. Now, I have also looked at some reports when it pertained to his injury history. From what I've seen, when he had the 2 ACL injuries on that left leg, I think, what I'm finding out, what happens a lot of time with ACL injuries, if you go in and just fix the ACL, a lot of times it puts strains on other muscles and it can cause the ACL to go back out again. I noticed, and I don't know if anybody missed this, but when he had the ACL injury and the surgery this time, he went on and fixed the whole knee. So I'm now looking at, was those 2 injuries associated with each other? Because could it be the second injury was not a new injury? Could it be it was only repaired to function instead of getting the whole thing taken care of? Now, I don't have reports for that, so I can't speak to that. What I can speak with is I liken surgery, this particular surgery, like I once had a car that had turbo in it, and the turbo went out. And if you know anything about a turbo in a car, it's not just connected to, it just don't stand alone. It's connected to the converter. And so the car started reading that I needed a new converter. But the real issue was the turbo went out, which affected the converter. You understand? And so I believe that Micah Penix was going in to make sure that the whole knee was taken care of. Again, do we know if he's going to have setback? We don't. Can I tell you, people are already talking about, well, he's going to come back in 9 months. But you know, those injuries usually have setbacks. We wasn't saying that when Kirk came off his Achilles, and we saw him in that first game he played when he got here, when he played the Steelers, and he was not up under center. And he stayed in shotgun most of the game because we saw on the screen that he couldn't really put pressure, or he was at least guarding that Achilles, that injury. So is it possible that there could be setback? Yes. But again, as I've said before, we have to give this kid a chance. Excuse me. If he get back and he don't look up to par in 27, there is a great chance that Coach Ski may get rid of him and get what he wants. But what if he come in and he excel in the scheme? Then what we gonna say? And it's crazy that when we talk about our particular team, particularly at the quarterback, everybody outside of Matt Ryan, we got a problem with, particularly if they are subpar, which we have had. Obviously, we know that with the Marcus Mariota, the Desmond Ridder. But I cannot stand the hate that this young man gets from radio personalities, content creators that say that they are fans of the team, that say that, I really do like Michael Penix, but that ain't what you really saying. And that ain't what you really mean. You probably playing politics, or you playing radio, or you playing social media. At the end of the day, unless you're in the training room or you were the surgeon that repaired his knee, nobody knows what's actually going to happen with Michael Penix. And I'm going to be looking very, very close. I'm going to have a very critical eye on some of the people that I've heard harp so much on the injury, and they haven't given this guy a chance. We knew he was injury prone, but can we go back to college when he hurt both shoulders, had 2 ACL injuries, but turn around and took his team to the playoffs the 5th year? took his team to the championship the 6th year, and was hurt in that game, and they almost beat Michigan. And I watched that game. I've watched it over since those years past. Penix gave it all he had. And he was injured, limping. But you know what? He muscled through it, stayed through it. And let us also not forget, too, family. Because I really think we all a family. We just, you know how siblings, they fight. And all the siblings ain't the same. It's like all of the content creators and the radio personalities, it's like we got the same mama, but we ain't all got the same daddy. So we got different DNAs and different opinions and different thoughts. And that's all right. That's what social media is. That's what sports talk is. But understand, we have to let due diligence play out. No different than Coach Ski. We got to let it play out. I don't know who said it, but I love the fact that we cannot harp on Coach Ski. I was very critical when it came out about the whole Shador thing. But at the end of the day, I was speaking my opinion. Was I there in Cleveland? No. But I also had to come back on and get it back into the social media streets and say, you know what? I heard some other things. I got some other information, and I had to give Coach Ski the benefit of the doubt. So we have to be careful. Be very, very careful how we criticize, because here is the thing. I know there was people that didn't want Penix here. Some people didn't want him here because they didn't feel we needed a quarterback. We had just got Kirk Cousins. Some people didn't want him here because he black. It's just what it is. Some people didn't want him here because he was too close to Micah Vick, the name, and he was left-handed. It's all type of stuff. Some people didn't want him here because he was injury prone. Don't you know that the Falcons knew that? But they also knew that this boy has a major upside, pending on his body hold up. And there are just some players sometimes that they have all of the talent, but their body sometimes breaks down over time. We see it with Troy Anderson. Great talent. Boy can just flat out run and hit and cover, but he can't stay healthy. Can't stay healthy. But we got to at least give him a chance. That's the only thing I'm saying. I wanted to make this video. Usually I do shorts, but I wanted to make this video because I wanted to make sure that I, number one, got stuff off my chest. Number two, I want to put the real issues out here, because I've seen one particular station, they come off as they've been negative, and I don't want to use the other word, but they've been negative a long time when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons and some of our sports team. And it ain't 92-9 the game. Now, everybody had their opinion, right? But at the end of the day, I never saw Matt Ryan get this much criticism. Now, there was some crazy people, especially from my community, the black community, that had a problem with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan didn't ask to come and pick up a franchise after it was destroyed and disassembled. He stepped into something that he had no earthly idea what he would have to face. But he came in and he won the fan base over. But do you know there are still people that blame Matt Ryan for the Super Bowl? And he only played offense? Do you know there's some people that want to give Julio Jones credit but don't want to give Matt Ryan credit? If Julio Jones ever make it to the Hall of Fame, he's going to have to put Matt Ryan in his speech. Because I've heard all the jokes about Matt Ryan. He ain't Matty Ice. He Matty Milk. He got a noodle arm. He don't have the strongest arm. But one thing we cannot say, we can't knock that he's the winningest quarterback that we've ever had as an Atlanta Falcon. And we cannot disassemble him or disconnect him from Julio Jones, which is one of the greatest receivers that played the game, and definitely for the Atlanta Falcons. And it showed that when he left the Falcons, Julio went this way. And you can give Julio all the props you want, but you got to give Matt Ryan props with Julio Jones. It is what it is. You don't have to like it. It just, hey, I found out this. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And one more thing about Michael Penix, and I promise you I'm done. Let us not forget, with his injury history, with his body breaking down at times, the boy still got 4.4 speed. 4.445 speed. That's documented that he ran at the combine. Now, you explain that to me with 2 ACL injuries. So just imagine if he never had the injuries, what he would be. I can probably venture to say we probably wouldn't have had a chance at Michael Penix. Now, could we have probably had? I don't think that year, if Michael Penix was top tier without an injury history, I think he's top 3 easy. I don't think we get Drake May. I don't think we wouldn't have got Caleb Williams. I don't think we would have got Michael Penix. I don't think we would have got none of the quarterbacks in that particular draft. And he probably, according to the draft status, Penix may have been the 4th best, 5th best quarterback. And that's with the injury history. I would venture to say he got the best arm out of that draft class. Foot for foot, just athleticism, I would give it to Penix. Probably throw the best deep ball that anybody out of his class. So, I got my spiel out. I love y'all. Listen, somewhere we'll get back together. But anytime I hear little rumblings about Michael Penix, I'm going to be on here on folks' neck. Especially as long as he's on my team. Now, I'm a fan of him, so if he go to another team and he excel, I root for him unless he play for the Falcons. You understand what I'm saying? And then after he get through playing for the Falcons, then I, be a fan. I mean, all of us have teams, have players from other people that we love. So that's all I got. I just want to say, hey, man, look, let's see this thing play out. Let us not be quick to judge, because we never know when we have to get back on the internet and eat our words, because we don't know what God plans is for him. This surgery could really put him in a place, and for the next 2-3 years, we don't hear anything about Michael Penix having a setback. And he go and set records and get to the playoff and whatever the case of it is. Likewise, the opposite could happen to where, okay, he don't rebound and we have to go another route. Either way, it is what it is. And as long as I'm on this earth, I'm going to be a Bird fan. So anybody that's on my team, particularly anybody that I have a great deal of respect and love for, I'm going to beat the drum for him. I did it for Matt Ryan. I did it for Chris Chandler. You know what I mean? I did it even back with Chris Miller. I did it when we were sorry. I was a kid. And they was like, man, why you root for the Falcons? But that's what I know. So to all the faithful ones, look, man, all of us have opinions. And at the end of the day, we're going to see how this thing turn out. But let us be very, very careful not to judge before we see results. All right, man. Do what you do. I'm getting ready to go in the crib, and we'll holler back. I'm out of here. Peace.